Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, an entry from the most exotic family of Audemars Piguet Royal Oak sports watches. This is the AP Royal Oak Concept Flying Tourbillon GMT. As you see it here in grade 5 titanium, gray ceramic with blue accents. The model was launched in 2020, and indeed this example in my hand was sold in 2020. It is a big machine. Though rated at 44 millimeters diameter, it's really not round in any sense, so that dimension means a whole lot less than the 58 millimeter lug-to-lug spacing, which is really going to determine how this looks and fits. It's neither thick nor thin given the amount of hardware inside the case at 16.1 millimeters thick. Taking a look at it on my wrist, this is going to be the decision point. So aesthetically, it's less a case than the casemate of a warship. This is like the turret of a battleship. But I will also say this, my wrist is skinny at 16 centimeters circumference, and I believe that this is too much for my wrist. But if you do look at the contour of the case, you could see that the lugs are in contact with the contour of my wrist all the way around and side to side. So you're just going to have to judge what kind of aesthetic you're going for. This thing can look completely out of proportion to your wrist and still fit snugly and comfortably because it's mostly ceramic, titanium, and sapphire. These are all very light materials, but I think this is a bit much. I would recommend a wrist of 18 centimeters circumference minimum to really wear this well. Now you can see that the underside is cambered, so like an RM, it has that sort of arc from side to side like a cup, which is going to help it fit a little bit better. The straps are held in by screws, so the hardware keeps the strap in place. You can see this is highly proprietary, and even the strap is unique to the model as it has this sort of angularity and faceting that defines almost every part of this watch inside and out. So you've got a lovely sort of matte finish with a little bit of a character line on the side. You've got the striations down the center. On the underside, you can see this is a brand new AP strap, no crimping, no gouging. The buckle, again, features that sharply angular faceting that defines these Royal Oak concepts, and then this is all media blasted titanium, just like most of the case is. But you get a full clasp, and then we'll jump back to the case. We have media blasted faceting. The basic exterior design of the Royal Oak concept hasn't changed a whole lot since the landmark original from 2002, and while the materials, the complications, and the movements have varied with time, the concept has always been more distinctly a tonneau than a round watch or even an integrated bracelet watch. The Royal Oak and even many of the offshores are integrated bracelet watches, whether they have a bracelet on them or not. Whereas here you can see quite clearly this is not round by any definition, and it has extended tapered profiles, including a little bit of a concave where the strap countersinks into the flank. So think of this as more of a tonneau watch. We have ceramic on the pusher crown for the GMT function, which you can see in action right there. And then we have a ceramic shoulder for the crown, which is a screw down. This is all 100 meters water resistant. We have faceting, including satin and media blast on these titanium crown guards. And you can see all the screws on the case are of a proprietary design so that bad watchmakers will not be able to get their hands on the internal components or detach the external components. But you can see that in the interest of making strap swapping easy for the owners, the strap retention screws are conventional flatheads. Now on the back you can see a contrast between the media blast, a few polished elements, and then brushed satin on the case back. Attention to detail is strong. We have the shoulder of the crown hexagonal, just like the famed bolts inside the bezel, and they are bolts, they are not screws. You can see this being a ceramic bezel, it is extremely scratch resistant, so it acts as a sort of heat shield for the watch, since it's usually the bezel that comes in contact with hard surfaces when you knock your watch. You can see the sharp breaks between the facets, the media blast versus the satin. bezel gasket fully expressed as it would be as a styling element to the offshore, and this definitely has more in common with the offshore than with the standard Royal Oaks. You can also see that there's a contrast between the matte finish at the top of the bezel and the polish of its flanks, which also includes striated satination, so triple finished there. Taking a look at the dial, we have blue accents. The bridges of the movement are made of blued grade 5 titanium, so it's titanium inside and out. We'll do a quick loom shot so you know exactly what you're getting. This watch is 100 meters water resistant and also quite well loomed, so a sports watch, make no mistake. Also, let's take one last look right here. The chaptering defines the indices. Then we have a couple of highlights. That distinct and pronounced faceting present around the logo as well as the crown function indicator, a longtime feature of these Royal Oak concepts. The crown has multiple functions, so in its neutral position, doesn't do anything. Now you pull it to R, or remontage, now we're winding the watch. And then pull it again, watch the indicator right here, down at the base. Now it goes to heure minute, and we are setting the watch. Taking a look, you can see that there's a very smoked sapphire atop the GMT disc, so you can just barely see it in action below. A lovely chaton mirrored cup for the pivot jewel there. We have, we'll move the hands out of the way, a flying tourbillon, so no upper bridge to block your view of the tourbillon. The tourbillon carriage itself is beautifully finished. It's free sprung, it beats at 3 Hertz, and it has an overcoil hairspring for precise timekeeping in every position. The free sprung architecture allowing very precise adjustment and then superior shock resistance. I particularly like the triangular stud that's been mirror finished in the stud holder. So lots to love right here. You could just barely see that there are 2 barrels peeking out from underneath. We'll demonstrate how the GMT system works right here. You can see how there is a bifurcation of the black and the white, so you know whether you're looking at day or night. You can also see that there's a little bit of a depth there, the numerals on the underlying disc. When you turn it over, you can see the movement is nicely sized to fit this big case. 2 barrels, 240 hours of power reserve, and better believe it, 10 days, 24 joules, 3 hertz, beautifully executed movement with a combination of textures, tones, colors, focal planes. This is known as 2954, and if 10 days doesn't get it done, I'm not sure what will, but you can see that the barrels are open, so you can see the curling of the mainsprings as they wind tighter to the center of the barrels. There is more energy in the barrels. That's how you read that. Finishing is high grade, though in some cases it's designed to be a little bit more techno-industrial than traditional autologerie, but it is beautiful, well considered. You will not feel cheated by the attention to detail or the care taken and lavished on every element of this watch. A rare privilege, even for me. I don't see these too often. A very, very cool watch, and just the right solution for someone who wants something with Hublot wrist presence, Richard Mille street cred, and Grubel 4C technical sophistication. Hey, Audemars Piguet, maybe we can get along after all. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.